just ignore. I'm not content with the content. I want more. I'm not content with the content. I want more.
So, am I the only one who pictures when they say, like, when people say money laundering, I think, like, money in laundry machines?
That's what I thought at first.
Yeah, like, spinning around. I swear that I've seen that scene before, and I don't know what it's from.
It is in that.
I had a vivid memory of being a little kid, like, oh, they have to, like, wash the money to get, like, the fingerprints off. Like, that's what they're doing.
They gotta put it in the spin cycle real quick. Yeah, that's exactly what I think all the time.
And then I was like, wow, we used to be so innocent.
No, I still picture that right now. Like, if you were like, this is our money laundering business, I'd be like, wait, where's the washing machines?
Yeah.
I do not know what it's actually like to launder money.
When I hear that now, I just think of family video stores, because there's no way those are still...
Yeah, they put washing machines in the back. Welcome to Hooligan Radio, brought to you from our new state-of-the-art, perfect studio.
It's pretty perfect.
This is the podcast that covers movies, video games, true crime, cryptids, all in one. To my left, I have the wonderful Zach.
And I can barely keep my eyes open. I am exhausted.
Nice.
And this topic this week did not help at all.
He's still kind of cute, though. And I got to my right here, Josh.
Hi, and I'm going to be extremely distracted this week by Isaiah's dog.
And our third member of the podcast, my dog. So she might make some noises. Just know that she's a good time, I guess.
Part of the family.
You might hear panting, barking. It's not
That's
one of us.
That's not us.
Actually, Zach's part werewolf, so it might be Zach.
It's not a full moon yet, though.
So, as you may have heard in the beginning part of the intro, I have finally moved into my new apartment that I have talked about probably since the first episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I talked about when I was going to start streaming again.
Yeah.
That'll probably happen eventually once my desk isn't broken. But moving has been hell on earth. It's been literally the worst. All of a sudden in September, it went back to 90 degrees.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize how heavy everything in the whole world is.
Well, you said you got stuff from IKEA, didn't you?
Yeah, the stuff from IKEA was easy to carry.
But what about putting together?
Pretty easy.
Really? I've heard the opposite.
I just think that people who can't put IKEA stuff together don't follow simple directions. Because the book gives you pictures. There's even a little guy that says, if you have trouble putting this together, just call the store. And I'm like, okay. But the only thing I got from IKEA was a computer chair, and I put together at least 10 computer chairs in my whole life.
Gotcha.
So I kind of was just like, okay, this goes into the base piece.
And we have a chair.
No, dude. Pain in the ass. Building furniture was like my take a break from moving furniture around my apartment.
Yeah.
I got a desk yesterday from Micro Center, one of my favorite places to go. 100 fucking pound desk.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Why is it so fucking heavy?
Because it's pretty fucking big. You'll see. So right now we're just recording in my apartment. Eventually, we'll open up the studio upstairs when I get it all set up.
Oh, okay.
And it'll be a whole different level of podcasting for Hooligan Radio. I'm telling you right now. But my desk is broken. Out of the box broken.
Nice. So
Didn't realize it until I started putting my shit on it. So now I have to take the piece back to Micro Center tomorrow and get that fixed. Well, get it replaced.
Mm-hmm.
But, oh my God, dude.
Yeah, I mean, you guys know this, but maybe not Zach so much, but my family moved like probably 10 times while I was still lived at home growing up. So I had to, I have 3 brothers, so we never got moving people. It was just us every single time.
The moving people.
Yeah, so growing up, there was a few years, like middle school, beginning of high school, where every summer was moving somewhere and moving our bed and moving our dressers and moving everything. So I'm totally there with you. That it's the worst part of moving is moving.
Yeah. So on Friday, I got my keys on Saturday. On Friday, I was packing, and my friend Elijah, a fan of the show, if you guys have ever met him, you guys know who he is.
Yeah.
He calls me, and he's like, yo, dude, you want to go out and get some drinks? And I was like, I don't know, man, I'm packing. And I was like, you know what? It's my last night out this way. I might as well go out with the guys. So I go out, and I was like, I'll just go out for a few drinks and end up going home. Well, the other guys had different plans. They were like, we're going to get turned. So once they had a few drinks in them, I was like, oh, it's emo night. So we went to emo night, and I was like, we'll leave by midnight. I'll go to sleep. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
Nope. Not even close to what happened. We stayed at emo night until 2.
Nice.
Emo night was on the east side. Took us an hour to drive home. That's 3 o'clock. Drop everybody off. I get home at 3:30. I had to pick up Karina from the airport at 5:30. So I get up at 5, get about an hour of sleep. My car won't start because my keys broke the night before.
Like your key fob or your key broke?
My key broke in my key fob.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So I had to borrow one of my parents' cars and get Karina, and then so I slept 1 hour the day that I moved and moved everything. I was up from 4 o'clock in the morning until midnight on 1 hour of sleep. I was like, I'm gonna die. Woke up at 7 o'clock in the dot the next morning. I was like, I don't know what's wrong with me, but I got a lot of things to do. So I just was like running around literally all weekend. So
explain a little bit more. What's this emo night? What's that like?
Emo night is like the fucking... If I am in hell now, it's because I touched heaven and fell. Emo night is kind of like, so they pick a bar. Normally it's either B-side on the east side or the Foundry on the west side. If you're from Cleveland, you might know where those places are. Normally they have like deals on like the typical emo or punk rock drinks. So like it was like $3 tall boys a PBR or something like that. I don't know. They had free pizza.
Oh wow.
At the one I just went to, and then the next
cool.
one that I'm going to, it's like a themed emo night. It's like homecoming themed, so it's like emo homecoming. I think that's going to be brutal.
Sounds like wow.
But, whew, perfect. I love that place. The music is great. The people are awesome. Highly recommend. If you ever are like, what should I do on a Friday night? Text me.
So do they have one every Friday night?
I think they have one once a month, or it might be twice.
I thought it was.
okay.
I thought it was like every other week, if I remember correctly.
I feel like there's one on the east side. Like, it depends on the side of this. Like, on the side of Cleveland, they have one in each side. And it's inspired by, there's like an actual, like, organization called Emo Night. They're from LA. And they, like, actually, I don't know if they tour or if they're on tour now, but they, like, fully decorate bars and, like, ballrooms and stuff like that, and have, like, a huge, like, get-together of, like, emo and pop punk people and just hanging out. I guess the one in LA, like, frequents a lot of big band members. Karina was telling me about it whenever I picked her up from the airport. Mm-hmm. I just think it would be so cool to just, like, roll into emo night and be like, oh, look, those are the guys. I mean, the emo night I went to before, I got to see the guy from All Time Low, Jack. I don't know if I talked about that on this.
I don't think so, but I was going to ask you about that. Didn't you have a Twitter interaction with him or something where you asked him to come and then he showed up?
Yeah. He didn't actually acknowledge my tweet, but I tweeted at him and was like, hey, I hear you're playing in Cleveland tonight. Like, after you're done, you should come to the Foundry for emo night. And then he showed up, dude. It was baller. So I offered to buy him a drink. He's like, no, dude, it's cool. Like, you have a great time. And I was like, all right. And then he came up to the bar when I was buying a drink, and I was like, are you sure? And he's like, yeah, I'm sure, but you do drink for me. So I took 2 shots, blacked out that night. Dude. I was with Scott and Sam. Rip. I was dead. After that, he cheers me. After that, I was like, every drink it's free now, basically. Who cares about the price?
Yeah.
In other moving news, I was trying to push the lightest thing I've bought since I've moved. I bought a card table for upstairs in the studio. Came in a cardboard box. The cardboard cut my finger so bad that you can see I have like...
Oh, ew.
Yeah, dude. It was just bleeding all yesterday while I was trying to move shit. Don't own any Band-Aids. I'm just dying.
Don't have a first aid kit?
No.
I think that's one of the first things you buy.
Yeah, dude.
Like, do you have a fire extinguisher?
No.
That's also something you should get.
Well, I think they should have one in like the hallway or something, right?
I haven't cooked anything, so
No, you wouldn't have it in the hallway.
I don't think I have a fire extinguisher at my house.
Why would you have a fire extinguisher in the hallway?
Do you have a fire extinguisher at your house?
Yeah, it's
Why don't I
underneath
know
the
where
kitchen
it's
sink.
at? That doesn't sound like
I
fire safety.
highly doubt that I have a fire extinguisher.
Why would you want it farther away from where the fire's happening?
Yeah, dude. I don't even know. Where do you get them? Home Depot?
Pretty sure you can get them at like Walmart.
Out of
Home Depot's probably better.
We've lived together before.
Yeah.
Did we have a fire extinguisher?
Yes. Are you talking about at the North Summit house? No,
I'm talking about at the torch.
Every place I've lived at, we've had a fire extinguisher in the house.
Okay. Well,
I'm glad that you were on top of that.
So, there's one here. Maybe there's already one here, and I haven't looked.
That's true. Yeah.
I know for a fact we were at the Summit House because Garrett used it one time.
That's awesome. For what?
Just for fun.
Oh my god. So recently, by recently, I think it was last week, Microsoft announced that they're doing this new program called, is it like Xbox
All Access? Yep.
It's weird. It's like, doesn't make sense to me why they would do it right now, but I think that they're piloting it. I guess I'll explain it. So you can rent, well, I guess it's lease to buy your Xbox. So they'll send you an Xbox right now, and you can make payments on it for 2 years, and then whenever you'll pay it off, and you get to keep it, basically.
And it comes with Xbox Live Gold.
For those 24 months.
Yeah, and Game Pass, which I don't know what Game Pass is.
You just get some games. Like,
Game
think of
Pass,
it like
yeah.
a Play Store, like with the PS4s for us. Like how we get a free game each month. Just think of it like you get a certain.
Oh, okay.
Like,
so it's just free
like a
digital
streaming
games.
service almost.
Yeah, that is really weird that they would do that. I mean,
It's more of a streaming service than what Zach's talking about. They have like a library of games, and when you get Game Pass, you'll have access to those games, and you can just play. They add like new games to it all the time. I couldn't tell you what's on it. I just know that they add stuff to it. But yeah, so you'd get that. You would get your Live. You get your Xbox, and then you pay it over the course of 2 years. And then when at the end of 2 years, you're done paying it. So you basically it's lease to own is the model. The thing that like is bothering me is I don't foresee the current Xbox lasting 2 years into the future since they just announced a new Xbox or a new project at E3.
Yeah.
If you like break your Xbox, do they give you another one?
I don't
Like, do you have
think
unlimited
so.
Xboxes over those 2 years?
and then if you break it and don't
You
get
still
another
have to
one,
pay
you still
for
have to
it.
pay.
You'll still have to pay for it, yeah.
That's pretty crazy. It says here if you get the Xbox One S, it's $21.99 a month. If you get the One X, it's $34.99 a month. So it's essentially a 2-year, yeah, like you said, lease to own. It's basically a 2-year. What do you call it when you do that at like a 24-month financing essentially?
Yeah.
So why do you think that Microsoft would be doing this? What is it, just to sell some more Xbox Ones for the holidays, or what do you think?
I think it's a pilot program. I think that this is what they're going to want to do for their next system. So they're testing it with their current system. So for example, they might make the next system more expensive, but make it X installments of this for this long. It's going to make it seem like it's less money. It's like the tele ads where they're like only 17 payments of $19.99, and you're like, oh, that's not that bad. And then you add it up, and you're like, holy shit, why did I pay that much for a knife?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, they probably
for a
have
knife.
they probably have spreadsheets and studies that show them that people are more willing to buy it
Pay
for
a small amount for
Yeah.
I mean,
a bunch of
I am.
times. Then, yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I mean, that's why people like take out financing for different things. Like, I guess there's going to be a way to finance your next piece of hardware through them.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
I mean, yeah, that's interesting. I mean, I was telling Zach, when I got the Wii U, I did, financing, 12-month financing. So it's not like it's necessarily anything new. It's just the biggest part is them giving you the Xbox Live and the Game Pass, for doing it directly through them.
Yeah.
So it'd be interesting. Do you think it would be realistic for them to roll out their next system with only this, where you can't buy the system, you have to lease it?
I don't think that they're going to make it so that you have to lease it, but I think that their driving marketing scheme is going to be you can lease it and get these things. Because if you really think about it, from Microsoft's standpoint, giving you Xbox Live and Game Pass for free is pennies on the dollar to them. They don't even care.
Yeah. No, I could totally see them, coming out with something like that where it's just a monthly price. I mean, that's what. So do you think it's a good move then overall for them? Do you think other companies, Sony, Nintendo, do you think that it might go in that direction?
Yeah, I think that the next console iteration will have different ways of it happening. But I think you'll have the access to do that on all of the different consoles.
Yeah, just buy it up front, or if you wanted to.
You probably won't have that for Nintendo because Nintendo is still in the mindset that like their game systems are on the toy spectrum, not on the hardware spectrum. So like when they look at it, when they go to release their stuff, they're like, this is a toy, this is a supercomputer you're going to put in your living room.
Yeah.
True.
So I don't think Nintendo will move that way. But in the long scheme of things, it'll be so much easier to transition to, here's your hardware that you bought for a lump sum. Here's your hardware that you lease to own. Here's your service that you now pay monthly for to have access for in the end game, if that is their end goal. Hey, we had you paying $30 a month for your Xbox before. Now you're only going to pay $20 a month to have access to the Xbox platform. And then, boom, you have finally transitioned all of your player base from owning a hard console to just games as a, like streaming games as a service.
See it, rent to stream it. So this past weekend, I saw Searching. Have you guys heard anything about this movie?
That's that movie where I think it's his daughter, but he's like trying to search for that one like teenage girl like through his social media and everything.
Yeah, it is his daughter in the movie. So essentially, basic plot of the movie, the whole movie takes place on screens. So the whole movie is like computer screens, phone screens, security camera screens. That's how you see the whole movie.
And there have been other movies that have done this, right?
Yeah, like Unfriended.
Wasn't Megan's Missing like that too?
Kind of a little bit.
Yeah.
So wasn't it like through
Don't
like
watch
the
that
video
movie.
don't see that movie, but I'm pretty sure it was like all through the video.
But Unfriended, the guy who one of the main guys who made the Unfriended movies, made this one as well, and he has a lot of movies. So they call this genre, they're calling it screen capture genre. Okay. And that same guy has a lot of these movies, I guess, in production, low budget movies. So it looks like it's going to be a new thing. I didn't see the Unfriended movies. But those were like straight horror movies. This was a mystery thriller suspense movie, nothing supernatural or anything like that about it. And I really, really loved this movie.
Really?
So to give you just a basic breakdown of the plot, the dad has a daughter who is in high school. I think she's about to be graduating high school, and then one night she disappears. And it starts off as him trying to, find his daughter, and then he gets, deep, and basically realize, maybe his daughter had some things going on that he didn't think, he doesn't know his daughter as much as he thinks that he did. And it gets really, really crazy, and it's one of those movies where it's only an hour and a half long, and about 45 minutes in, I'm thinking, okay, I kind of see where this is going. I think I know what happened. And then the twist comes, and you're just like something happens, and you're like, wait a minute, what?
Was she a mob boss?
She was not a mob
Damn,
boss.
I would have called it. I went and saw it right now.
I bet she's a witch.
The coolest thing about it happening on a computer screen, though, is that it really leaves it up to you when it comes to finding these clues, because the main character's looking at his computer screen, but you're looking at it as well. So you're trying to see things that he doesn't see or sees, and there are certain times where you'll see something pop up, and you'll be like, wait a minute, is that? And you really have to pay attention to what's going on.
Yeah. So
that's why I think it's really cool to see it in the theater, because you have basically a computer screen, but blown up really big in front of you, and you're just trying to connect all the dots along with him. And
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a pretty thrilling movie. So there's not a ton of stuff out in the theaters right now. We're going to get into what's coming out. But if you're looking to see a movie right now, that would be my recommendation. So then for Rent It, Deadpool 2 came out. And we talked about this movie a little bit when it came out in theaters, but not really. They came out with the super duper fucking cut is what they called it.
Hell yeah.
It's just an extended edition. It's just 15 minutes longer. More jokes.
It's got
more jokes, more uncut. So did you both see Deadpool 2?
Yeah.
I did, yeah.
Did you guys like it, or what was your opinion on it?
It was the first one. It was pretty much the same movie to me, with the exception of a little bit more humor adding the other team members.
Yeah, there's a couple characters that I'm like, oh, they're pretty cool, but I don't know. The Deadpool movie was alright. The second one was alright.
Yeah, so we're all on the same page, so I thought it was...
Yeah, it's like you try to help Deadpool.
There's a reason why it wasn't brought up the last episode. I'll put it that way.
It's like, let's try to make a Deadpool movie with feelings. And it's just like, alright.
Yeah, I mean, you're basically right. I mean, I felt like the first Deadpool movie, I was like, oh, that was fine, that was funny. And then this one, I was like, yeah, that was also funny. So, and then for Stream It, I'm going to talk about a Netflix series that just came out with its second season. It's called Ozark, and it stars and is made by Jason Bateman. Zach,
did you tweet about this?
Yeah, I did earlier today.
Right.
So it came out on Friday, this past Friday, and Saturday night and last night, I was up almost all night binging this show.
That's awesome.
Because it's one of those shows where I started watching it late at night, and then it's like every episode you're like, I can't stop watching this. Like you need to figure out what happens. To give you the basic plot of the first season, when it starts, he's a guy who does money laundering for a Mexican cartel.
Nice. Already started off.
And he has a wife and 2 kids, and they send him to this place called the Ozarks, which is like this really rural, remote area to launder money for them. And of course, shit goes crazy and haywire, and very quickly he ends up in over his head and on the verge of death. So basically, the whole show is Jason Bateman trying to launder money for the Mexican cartel and not getting killed by anybody. And Jason Bateman, who, I don't know if you guys know anything he's been in like Arrested Development.
Yeah.
He kind of plays the same guy in every role, but in this role, like, my stomach was in a knot in some of the parts of the show. Like, there are some things that happen
He's a
where
good actor.
yeah, and I feel like watching the show, it's like I just want the show to be over because it's like I just want to know everything's going to be okay because it's so suspenseful. So I would highly recommend Ozark if you haven't seen it.
I do want to see it.
So
Make it go down.
that's why everybody thinks that El Maurice used to be a money laundering front.
No, it was. no. It's a fact it was.
I'm pretty sure that most mattress stores are a money laundering scheme because, like, how can 20 to 30 mattress stores be open in the same city?
Yeah, or how do they stay open when you never see anyone go inside of them?
Exactly. They're always empty, and if you ever, like, anytime something new is opening in the city, there's like a 50% chance it's a mattress store. Like every single time.
It's like a coin flip where they're like, and mattress store.
Yeah, it's either that or Starbucks.
Yeah.
Except Starbucks, I can see why it's successful. It's always busy.
Yeah,
a mattress store, I don't think.
Yeah. Do they sell one mattress a month and they can pay rent? Like, I don't fucking get it.
How many employees do they really have?
How
Two?
much? Yeah. Well, the real question is, how much money do they make per mattress? Because there's never enough people in there. Like,
in the mattress store that just opened up the street from my house, they put cardboard cutouts of like people and workers in the windows to make it look like there's people there because there's never anybody there.
oh, that's easily.
That would infuriate me if I was a customer.
We should go in. We should go check it out.
Just your store's full of lies.
Live episode of Hooligan Radio. From the mattress store by Josh's house.
And since we're on the topic of movies, a few months ago, back in May, we did the summer movie preview, and overall, it was a pretty underwhelming summer, I would say. From what everyone seems to be saying, the best movie of the summer was Mission Impossible, and I didn't see it. So,
Neither have I.
so pretty underwhelming. But I'm going to be talking about 15 movies from now until the end of the year.
15 teams.
That I'm interested in seeing, and hopefully there's some on here that you guys are interested in as well. And then if there's any I don't name, obviously throw them out. But so we're going to start off with this Friday. The Nun comes out. So we talked about The Nun a little bit on our last episode. It's in the Conjuring universe, and it's about if you saw
the Conjuring universe.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh,
and if you saw, did you see have you seen any of those movies?
I haven't seen the Conjuring, but I heard that shit was scary.
Yeah.
It
So
always is.
The Nun is in the Conjuring 2. So now this is like her origin movie of this demon nun.
Yeah.
Zach, have you seen any of the Conjuring movies?
Yep, I've seen them both.
And did you like them? What did you think of them?
Yeah, I liked them both. They were both very scary. It wasn't like that traditional like jump scare routine that a lot of movies have been getting into. Like it was a very uncomfortable movie at times, which I always like in a scary movie. I can't remember who's the actor that plays the gentleman though, like the actual
Patrick Wilson?
Yes, he's also very good. I don't know if he's actually in this next one though.
I don't think he is. No, this is a prequel. It takes place, I believe, in the 17 or the 1800s.
Yeah, so I didn't remember if it actually involved those two characters or not though, or if it was truly just her origin story.
Yeah, when it comes to the Conjuring like extended universe, so like the Annabelle movies and now this movie, I don't think they're on the same level as like the Conjuring films.
Yeah.
In quality, but I think this movie's going to make a ton of money because people are clearly afraid of this nun. So,
Yeah. And it follows with the Conjuring name. Like, you have that associated
Yeah.
with the movie, people are going to go see it for that alone.
Exactly. Really, I think it's interesting because The Conjuring is really the only movie universe outside of the MCU that is successful. So
far.
I think that's pretty interesting as well.
What you mean, dude? The Fast universe.
Once the Rock and the Jason Statham movie comes out, then it'll be a universe. As of right now, it's just a movie. It's just a franchise.
I guess you're right.
But then the next week we have The Predator coming out, which I was not
Looks
that. Go ahead.
Dope.
Yeah,
I think it looks
Really?
crazy.
yeah. I was not that interested in it at first, but now the more I see, the more I'm like, this looks like a really fun action movie. It looks badass.
It looks more comedic to me now. Like, even some of the actors that are in it are a lot more like comedy based, like from their past roles, which I'm excited for.
Yeah, and you have Shane Black directing it, who is he's made movies that are kind of like action comedy movies.
Yeah.
So that looks really badass. And then that same day, kind of a smaller movie. I don't know if you guys watched the trailer, but it's a movie called White Boy Rick.
I'm actually excited for this
I'm
movie.
pumped.
I saw the trailer when I went to go see the Black Klansman, and I was like, wow, this is something I want to go see.
Yeah, you have a based on the true story. Do you guys know who White Boy Rick is? Because I'm not super
I
familiar.
didn't before. I honestly, after I got out of that movie, I looked him up.
And
I-
what was he just?
He was pretty much like one of the youngest street hustlers, and at one point in time he joined. I don't know like his full story, but later on he became an FBI informant for like everything that was going on in his area. I think he was from Detroit or around that area, if I'm not mistaken. But that's really all I got from looking him up.
All right, and then we're moving on to October here. So we have October 5th, we have Venom coming out, which we've already talked about a little bit. This is kind of the opposite effect than I had with The Predator. The more I see about this movie, the less excited I am. I still hope it's good, but my hopes are not super high for this one.
It's going downhill pretty quick, let me tell you.
Yeah, big Venom fan, but I don't think that this movie's going to do me any justice.
I don't think it's going to do Venom any justice.
Yeah, well, I'm the only one who matters in my cinematic universe, so it's got to do me justice.
Yeah, it's a hope for the best scenario. I like Tom Hardy, so
Yeah.
it's a hope for the best scenario, but we'll see what happens there. This next one is one I'm really excited for. So October 12th, a movie called First Man comes out, which is a biopic about Neil Armstrong, the moon guy, not the bike guy. I always get them confused.
They're the same guy.
And it starts.
First he went to the
Wasn't the other
moon,
one
then he
Lance?
started riding a bike. Dude, what do you mean? Same
Yeah.
guy.
Now he has small testicles from the steroids he abused.
I thought he had one testicle.
That's why you
You're
don't
right.
don't use steroids, go to the moon, and then ride bikes.
Yeah.
But you have the director is Damien Chazelle, who directed La La Land, which was my favorite movie a couple years ago, and Ryan Gosling, who was also in that movie and has been one of my favorite actors the last couple of years. So this movie looks pretty great, although I think we all know it's a lie, right? I mean, the moon landing didn't happen, so this is a fictional tale.
100%.
The story of an actor getting his first big break.
I'm really
Yeah.
I'm really holding out for halfway through the movie it just being a giant twist and like their mission failing and being like, listen, we can't make it, but we gotta beat the Russians. This is Stanley Kubrick. He's gonna direct this. We're going to fake going to the moon. I think it'd be a great movie if that was the
I
case.
agree. I think
would
it would
watch.
be,
That would be
it would
great.
hit the top 5 for me if they made a whole movie about the moon landing being fake.
And then the week after that, we have the reboot, sequel, continuation of Halloween called
so-
Halloween.
Looks so good.
Looks
I don't
like
know what it
Halloween.
is. I don't know what it is about it though. It looks so good.
It definitely
The
does.
continuation, like multiple years later,
40
is
years
what-
later. Yeah,
is like
from the original.
What I think is a sweet concept.
If y'all don't remember Alex, he was a guest on here
Never heard
a
of
few
the
weeks
guy.
ago. He and I are reviewing all of the Halloween movies leading up to the new one over this month and next month. So you can check out those videos on our YouTube channels. I just watched Halloween 2, the one from 40 years ago, last night, and what a weird fucking movie. And that's one of the good ones, I'm told. So it's going to be a lot of fun. But no, I'm really excited for this new movie as well. And then that same day, a smaller movie that's coming out is called Mid-90s. And it's directed and written by Jonah Hill.
Oh no!
It basically
No.
follows a young teenager living in the mid-90s.
A young Jonah Hill.
So that movie comes out the same day as well. Only reason I bring that up is because it's being made by A24, and I will see anything they make. So
Nice.
Then going into November, one movie that I'm actually really excited for, even though I'm not really a Queen fan, is Bohemian Rhapsody.
Oh,
It looks good.
fucking pumped, bro.
The Queen movie that's coming out. Have you guys ever watched Mr. Robot?
Yes.
Yes.
I've seen every
So
episode.
so the same guy. I haven't seen that show, but the guy who's playing Freddie Mercury. And what is interesting about this movie is I guess the other members of Queen who are still alive had like the rights to this movie. Like they couldn't make this movie until Queen like approved it, the movie. So apparently it's been in production for like a long time, and they finally got it done. So it's going to be interesting. Like I said, I'm not a huge Queen fan. I don't know a ton about Freddie Mercury, but just from the trailers, I'm hugely interested in it. So I think that's going to be pretty great as well.
Yeah, I'm pumped, dude. Huge fan of Queen, but every time I see the preview for it, I'm like, yeah, I gotta see that. Hopefully it comes true. You know how I am with movie stuff. I'm like, yeah, that looks awesome, and then I'll never go.
And then that same day, on targeting a much different audience, Disney is releasing Nutcracker in the Four Realms, which is, from what it looks like, just a live-action telling of the Nutcracker, which I know nothing about. But it has Morgan Freeman. So it should be good. So it should be good.
There's only so many movies left he can do. We gotta see them all.
You gotta put them in everything.
A little bit later that month, November 21st, Creed 2 is coming out with Michael B. Jordan.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the band, the sequel.
The sequel to Creed the Band.
It's even better.
Yeah. I was never a huge Rocky fan or anything, but this movie looks awesome. So
it does look good. And they're bringing back the Russian aspect of it, against the
with
Russians
Drago.
fighting.
Yeah, and I think
With a meme where it's like, if he dies, he dies. You're bringing that in.
All I can think about is Arms Wide Open, too. Sorry.
Would it still be called that, just with the two at the end,
Be
or
like,
are they
arms half open.
arms so open?
Arms still open.
so. You're fine. December. We're moving into December. So one movie I actually talked about in the summer movie preview, called Under the Silver Lake, got pushed back to December. So for whatever reason, it was having really good reviews, and then it was played at one film festival where it got a mixed reaction, and I guess that scared A24. I'm not sure what exactly happened, but they got pushed back to December, so it's still yet to come out. I had already talked about this movie.
Andrew Garfield?
Yeah, so it's about Andrew Garfield living in LA, and a girl that he likes goes missing, and there's a huge mystery that he has to unravel. And it looks really cool. It's really hard to explain, so just watch the trailer. It looks trippy as hell is really all I can say about that. But so these last few movies I want to bring up, I think this is really interesting because we have 4 movies that are all coming out the week before Christmas.
Nice.
So some of these movies are going to bomb because these are all big blockbuster movies and they can't all succeed in the same week.
True.
So I'm going to name all 4 at once and then we're going to talk about them. So getting a 2-day head start, releasing on a Wednesday, which Disney likes to do sometimes. Disney is releasing on December 19th, Mary Poppins Returns, which is not a reboot or a remake, but a sequel to the original Mary Poppins, and Emily Blunt is taking over the role as Mary Poppins in that movie. And then 2 days later, we have 3 big blockbuster movies coming out. We have Alita Battle Angel, which is being produced by James Cameron, the guy who made Avatar, and looks pretty crazy. We have Aquaman, the DC film that's getting a lot of hype, obviously. And then we have Bumblebee, the next movie in the Transformers universe, starring John Cena and Haley Steinfeld. So,
John Cena's in it? I didn't know that.
oh yeah, he is. He is.
I have to see it.
So all 4 of those movies coming out that same week. Which of these 4 movies, if you guys were going to see one movie that week, which one would you guys see?
Man, it's not Mary Poppins, I can tell you that.
Probably gonna be Alita.
I was about to say, Alita looks really good. Wow, John Cena's really in the Bumblebee movie?
But yeah, that's the problem is, this is the thing. If I go to see the Bumblebee movie, and John Cena's in it, and Bumblebee doesn't play John Cena's theme song through his car radio, I'm gonna be disappointed. It'd be the only scene that I want to see from the whole movie. I'm picturing it in my head right now, and I need the justice done by a $1 billion movie production.
Why does Aquaman also have to be thrown into this? I would see that movie almost any other, choice-free, but...
I feel like I feel like I've heard about Aquaman for so long that I don't even know what the fucking movie's going to be about. I just know that that guy has a lot of tattoos and he shoots a lot of scenes where he's coming out of the
And
water.
every woman wants to sleep with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have
and a lot of men, too.
Yeah, I have no interest in Aquaman. So for me, it's going to be probably either Bumblebee or Alita. Alita, because it looks super interesting and I know nothing about it. So that's it, guys. That's it for the rest of the year. That's what's looking strong here for me. For you guys listening, if there's any I didn't mention that you were really excited for, definitely let us know. But that is your holiday movie preview.
All right, so instead of what you guys did this week, where you're looking into like the future, what's going to be coming up, I went back, and I'm going to take us all the way back to the time of the pyramids. Yeah, so originally I was just going to be like, all right, let's go ahead and cover the Great Pyramids. Those are pretty cool. And then as I started looking more into that, I was like, wow, there's a lot more periods around here, not around the world. I was like, wow, there's a lot of weird coincidences about these pyramids. And then a couple hours later, a couple beers, whiskeys deep, I think I know what's going on.
They don't make beer whiskey, right? You're talking about beers and whiskey
Beer and whiskey.
together in one glass?
Is there another way to drink it?
You're right.
No. Alright, so let's just go ahead and do a little brief, not history, but a little synopsis of the pyramids. The most known ones are in Egypt, the Great Pyramid of Giza? Giza?
Yeah.
Is it Giza? Great Pyramid of Giza. It was reportedly, supposedly built over a course of 20 years, in 2560 BC to 2540 BC. Which is crazy.
Yeah, it was a week ago.
They did the statistics about it, and pretty much with like the weight of the stones and like how much work they had to be done, they would have had to place a stone every 2 minutes, non-stop work for those 20 years.
To make it for 20 years, it would still... Wow.
So they're like, this physically can't be done. Like, there's something here that we're missing, like, that allowed them to do it. And then it's not even just that Great Pyramid of Giza. It's like a pyramid complex. Like, there's two other pyramids. It's a three-pyramid location. And it's a perfect diagonal of where they're at. Like, the peaks of the pyramid line up perfectly symmetrical, like, in a diagonal going forward with it. Which... they really didn't have like a whole lot of like graphing or like mapping tools around that time, so they're like, this is also a huge coincidence that's going on right here. Back to like the over the 20 years part, supposedly it was built with 100,000 oppressed slaves, but a lot of people are coming out and saying that can't be possible for this. It has to be like trained workers and everything. But these workers would have to be on like Adderall 24/7 to get this done in that time period.
Did they have Adderall back then?
They probably had stronger stuff.
Yeah, they probably had an Adderall factory in Egypt.
Just in the Great Pyramid of Giza alone, it was built with over 2.3 million stones, each one weighing 1 to 2 tons.
Nice.
Yeah. There's like evidence and stuff.
People were swole as fuck.
Yeah, they were. There was evidence of like grinders around there, ropes with like papyrus ropes, ramps to like be able to get up there. But there's these other pyramids around the world as well, like in Machu Picchu. There's some in China, but actually the weird ones in China, weird thing with them is those are actually covered up by a lot of dirt, soil. Like the Chinese are like hiding these pyramids, or were hidden at one point in time with it. And across, and I can't remember the exact like ley line or something, but if you draw a line across where those pyramids alone line up, there's other pyramids along that same line, as well as other like mysterious like tombs, tablets that have been found. There's one, I can't remember the exact country in the Middle East where the line crossed, that they actually found a tablet that they haven't been able to translate yet and stuff.
Probably has the fucking secrets of life on it.
Right?
Probably aliens.
I mean, we'll get into that in a little bit. You're not wrong. It's always aliens. It's always aliens. And then in the actual pyramids themselves, they're perfectly symmetrical. Like, it would have had to take a very trained person not only to get it so symmetrical with the building, but to precisely do that sort of building for it. It would have been hard for someone to do that right now in this time of day, let alone do it close to 2,500 years ago for this stuff.
Wait a minute. If you said that it was in 2000...
Sorry, about 5,000.
5,000 years ago.
Another really cool thing that I found out about the Pyramid of Giza is that it was built on the geographical coordinates 29.9792458, which is actually the speed of light.
That's my phone number.
Is it? You get a lot of calls.
Yeah, guys, call that phone number.
But there was no way they would have known that was the speed of
Yeah.
the speed of light, because we didn't even discover that till like the 1950s.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of these like super weird coincidences that are happening, not only with like the Pyramid of Giza, but with all these other pyramids. Another thing that I completely left out, I guess, if you, instead of the way the equator is running now, if you flip it and put it on the North Pole, these are all, that's actually the line that all these follow along. And by this time, this is when started really feeling the alcohol at this point in time. So the websites from here got a lot more interesting.
I'm excited in the
And
interesting
this is where the theories are going to come into play.
Yes.
So we're going to hold off on the alien one, because that one's, of course, is going to be mentioned.
Oh, we're going in.
But some of the better ones that I've come across is not only did they not build it on their own, but it was future us that came back to help them build them, to give us these subtle hints.
Okay. So you're telling that time travel's fucked up the whole universe by interacting with us in the past.
Yeah, and they're making it really hard.
So time travel is probably outlawed in the future.
Because supposedly we really won't be able to do time travel till we know the speed of light and are able to like first get something that fast.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the theories is that we came back, put the speed of light, because you just can't come out and be like, hey, here's the speed of light, good luck, and they're just sitting there like,
light isn't fast,
yeah,
it's
like,
here.
What's this number? They have to subtly hide it, which is the geographical coordinates.
Subtly hide
Yeah.
it by building a massive pyramid.
Yeah, there has to be something about this. And pretty much to help us get to the speed of light, we'll be able to do it. Which then we would have to go back and keep the cycle going and helping them build it.
You're telling me that all these scientists who figured out the speed of light were like, somebody in the future put these pyramids here.
So wait, so what would be the benefit of this is to help us find the speed of light or find time travel?
Like imagine like you as a scientist and you discover the speed of light. And you're like, man, that took a fuck ton of work. I want to go back and make it so someone else can discover it before me. Or
okay.
I want to help them get on the right path.
Okay.
Because this should have been discovered a long time ago.
Yeah, alright.
I get it. So, in my
So
Isaiah's World fanfic,
yes,
the scientists, I could probably write this movie right out of my head right now. The scientists discover the speed of light right as the sun is about to explode. So they're like, oh fuck, and then they go back and they like leave this hint. They're like, only way we can save humanity is if you leave them a hint. Let's spend 20 years building pyramids.
Bring all of your slaves
this exact location.
Sounds more like a Netflix series.
The second theory that caught my eye was that... Actually, this one makes a little bit more sense to me than this one. Do you know, like, supposedly there's a time before the Egyptian times, and it's also argued that this is part of the time called the Golden Age, where supposedly there was a lot of high-tech civilizations. Like Atlantis was a big one that you guys probably have heard of. Just like these super high-tech civilizations. Somehow that are no longer here anymore, whether because they died or left or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And they think that they could have helped build these pyramids, or maybe they, because right now the pyramids are all known to be tombs. What if they weren't started as tombs and they were used for something else, and it just happened to be that way? Or they're like, oh, look at this less inferior people, we should go like help them with something, or like
help them build a pyramid.
I don't know, man.
Okay, this is what I'm thinking.
Oh, so you're saying like, I'm sorry, but you're saying like, though these people existed at the same time,
correct?
And they're like, they found this more primitive people in another place in the world, and they're like, we're gonna help them. So like in Black Panther, when Wakanda comes to help out the rest of the world, it's kind of like that.
Yeah.
What were you gonna say, Isaiah?
So, bear with me. So these are tombs, which I forgot until this very moment when you said that there were tombs. What if the scientist who came back in time is the person buried in the tomb?
Oh shit!
Oh shit, dude!
I mean, it could have. He would.
I should write this.
He would have came back and be
TM. I think that's how it works.
he would have came down from like the whatever ship he's in and be like, oh, that's a god. So you can have us do whatever you want now.
What if it's like a funeral service really far in the future where you can get buried in the past? And you buy what period you want to get buried because they don't have any more room in the future. Wow, this is getting out of hand.
Yeah, dude, we're gonna write that down.
That sounds like a book. Hell, there was that one movie where you became small. I'm pretty sure this has a better chance of succeeding.
Downsizing?
Yeah.
Not to divulge us even more, but can you think of the things that we have like today that are just kind of like common, but if like we as a society just disappeared, people that would come back, like who would be here next, would think like, what the fuck is that?
And
like the Washington Monument, people would be like, I think Satan was here.
And that's part of it. Like, I can't remember the exact Transformer movie, but there's a Transformer movie where they like walk into a cave and it ends up being a ship or something like misidentified. Like, what if these pyramids are something that was used before? Like when this high tech civilization was there, they died off, left or whatever, and then once human civilization came to there, they're like, oh, let's use it to bury someone. Where it like had another.
So you're saying it was almost like it was already built.
Yeah.
Way back, and then the Egyptians were like, oh, let's use this as a tomb.
Yeah, and they did something to it which could have been like that 20 years for it or whatever.
It's interesting.
Because the pyramids in Egypt supposedly also, and I haven't looked into this exactly, have like something to do with like magnets as well as like an energy field where it could have been used almost like a gas station for like aliens or like the high-tech civilizations around. Stuff like that.
Yeah. I think it's aliens, dude. I've watched enough Ancient Aliens to know that it's probably aliens.
Yeah, after looking at all of the bright green with black text backgrounds, I'm also leaning towards the alien route myself.
He's pretty convinced.
So was there any actual convincing evidence as to why it would be aliens?
So, I mean, like, the subtle hints to a lot of, like, space star stuff, like we talked about with the speed of light, a lot of like astrological stuff going on with the pyramids, which also could relate to it. I'm pretty sure if with the 3 pyramids and there was a couple other monuments in that grid that I was talking about, the pyramid grid equals one of the constellations. So that's also a big hint with it. I actually watched an Ancient Aliens the other day too, where they talked about the idea of an alien coming down and being seen as like one of these gods, like Osiris or like Ra or something like that, and them like, hey, I'm your god now, or like, I'm the almighty being here, you're gonna do this for me, sort of thing. And that's how they got here. The pyramids got here, used some of their technology as well, or help guide them to using the technology that they need to get it done.
Dude, I'm fucked up right now.
That's unrelated to the podcast.
No, you know how fucking crazy it would be to just like see this thing descending and being like, well, that's God.
What do you think? Like, I want to be there, and I don't know. This could be tomorrow, or this could be like, I could be a fucking dust by this time this happens. I want to see like the first person who truly like. And not like I've been abducted or like I seen an alien. Like the aliens actually coming down and be like, we're real. And I just want to see what the fuck happens to society.
Yeah, I mean...
Religion would start rewriting books instantly. They'd be like, yeah, this is the New Testament. Spelled N-U-N-U.
The aliens that just show up are like Jehovah Witnesses. Like, let me tell you about...
I mean, it would probably depend on what their intentions are, but we would probably try to just blow them up.
Yeah, we'd try to kill them.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people's freaking mental states would be shattered.
They wouldn't speak English. Half of America would be upset. They'd be like, why do you work at a Burger King?
Coming here for our jobs now.
Yeah,
They took our jobs.
It would basically be the movie Independence Day, except the aliens wouldn't have to blow up all of our stuff. They would just come down and we would just start shooting.
We'd be like, holy shit.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would be a good thing in the sense that I think it would bring us together as a planet more so. Like, if we had something else to fight rather than ourselves.
We don't even have to fight it. We could just live with it.
We can barely live with people from another country.
Yeah, that's not the American way.
Come on, America.
I mean, unless you're thinking like a District 9 scenario.
Like, at one point in time, I'm hoping to where it's like Futurama, where we've just accepted
that they exist.
Yeah, like, and it's a happy, not happy society in the show at least, but like, you can at least coexist.
Well, we could probably talk about aliens for a very long time, but do you think they're the most likely scenario for the pyramids?
Just like every other website on there, I have no fucking idea. It could be a old high-tech civilization, or they could just work their ass off for 20 years and prove us wrong.
Yeah, I mean, there's probably something we don't know about it yet, or are missing about it. But I think that they're really interesting, and stuff like that's really interesting to try to figure out how they did it or why they did it.
The one thing I will close on, though, and that I found was probably the most compelling thing to me, was that there was a mathematician, and I don't have his name, unfortunately, where he pretty much took all of these coincidences that were going on, such as like the coordinates being the speed of light, them following around these like diagonals, having like all these things, and there's like a 0% chance that these aren't here for a reason. He believes, like, there's too many coincidences. There's too many things that end up just strings that are going everywhere, that there's something that these were meant to like mean or something like that.
Yeah, and it's just unfortunately one of those things we'll probably never know. Unless an alien comes down and tells us.
It says, "Hey, yo, we built those."
Yeah, but then
even it's still the really big dick in the stars.
That's my summer home.
Even at that point, how can we believe the alien? You know, unless he's like,
I mean, if it was an alien coming down saying that, I'd be like, "You're right."
If that's the first thing he says, he's like, "Those pyramids, yeah, we built them." I'm gonna go, yeah.
An alien can come into my home and be like, "This was my home," and I'd be like, "You're right."
You'd be like, "Did you build it?"
He'd be like, "I moved out in 03. I don't think time travel could ever exist.
I think it will at one point in time.
I mean, how do you...
Have you seen like some of those like time travel conspiracy theories?
How do you is the question.
Well, I just don't get... I don't want to jump too far down the rabbit hole, but it's like, if it exists at any point in the future, doesn't that mean that it's already existed, technically?
Like, the idea of time travel, to me, it makes a whole lot of sense, because speed of light, you could technically get yourself so fast that you're skipping time. So technically, it's easier to go forward in time than it'll be to go backwards. Because to go backwards, you technically will have to have a break in the space-time continuum to take you back.
Yeah. So like, if you try to drive your car in reverse, you're not going to go as fast as your car forward.
So are you saying that if time travel eventually exists, it'll only be to go forward faster?
I think at first it will be.
Correct. I think at first it will be like, oh, cool, we could send this person 50 years from now, but we can't get them back. We need to figure that out now.
I think more what it's going to be like is we can send this person to a destination in such time that it only feels like it's 50 years.
Yeah. Like, have you guys ever seen Interstellar?
Yes.
Yeah, where they go to that one planet and they're there for an hour, where they come back and it's been like 30 years.
Yeah. And it's how they could never go back, because that would have required like a wormhole, which I actually think they used at one point in time to try to get
a black hole.
to try to get the information back, because that technically was the cut that they needed to go back into that time on the timeline.
Yeah.
So you have to have that break to be able to go back. You can't like reverse time in that sense.
I mean, that's crazy interesting, man. I mean, that's wild. I mean, we'll never know.
I hope we do one day.
I mean,
I don't think we'll ever know.
I'm gonna pull the Walt Disney and just get frozen till that can happen. And then I'm good.
They probably have an extra pod. You can just stop I
mean, I bet there's a couple pod services that are in the works right now.
Yeah, good thing you probably make as much money as Walt did.
Hey, man. All I need is $1,000 meat freezer, and I'm pretty set.
Yeah, dude. We'll see you in 50 years, I guess. That's how you time travel. Just get in the meat freezer, kids. You heard it here.
Don't get in the meat freezer.
You heard it here on Hooligan.
We do not have that legal team now.
All right, so we would like to thank American Spirits for the use of their song Blanket Forts for our intro and outro song. You can find us at Hooligan_radio on Twitter and Hooligan.radio on Instagram. Look us up, Hooligan Radio on YouTube if you're not already listening there. If you are listening on YouTube, we're also on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and SoundCloud. You can find me on Twitter at _JoshuaSing_ and on my own YouTube channel. Isaiah, where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter at PHP_Islaya. That's really it, right? I guess that's the same for my Instagram. So if you want to see pictures of my dog, that's pretty much all my Instagram is. So
Yeah, it's not bad.
there you go.
And you can find me at ZachC_I_know_it at Twitter. And I still have yet to conform to the Instagram, but we'll see if that changes soon.
He's lying. It won't change. We don't want it to change, Zach. Dude, killing me. I think the aliens built the pyramids now. I thought it was Egyptians, but now I think it's aliens. So there you go.
Could also be us in the future.
I don't know.
Probably not.
Probably, though.
I don't know.
Maybe it's... What if it's us and aliens from the future?
Well,
Like-
what do you think is more likely to exist? Time travel or aliens?
Aliens.
Yeah.
Okay,
I think.
yeah, sure. You're right. You're right. Absolutely. Can I rephrase? Can I rephrase the
I'm
question?
not content with the